skips away, Parcel skips away, Marcel's still going, Parcel's got Richards coming up outside, now inside.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing.
Bennett and the Dragons win the grand final.
Whips that one away, and Kane Williamson and his team now World Test champions.
Welcome back, everybody, to the TGIF podcast. Thank God it's footy. How's the last week been, bro? Sitting here finally with a win on the board.
There's a different feeling that, it's good to be sitting here below these two lovely jerseys above me. It's a different feel.
Did you get the win? Did the Pies get the win in reserve grade as well?
No, lost by 2, I think, to Penrith on the end there. What a feeling. So good to be on the board finally. And what a nitty gritty performance. It was just awesome rainy footy, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. But just it's had a different feel to the week. And then yesterday, post the old social 5-a-side netball, stopped into BK, and as I'm walking out, there's a lady walking in, rocking a Tigers jersey. We had a big chahoo together. We had a good yarn, and she asked me for a selfie, and I did the same back, and we got a couple of pics together and made my day. So it'll probably be what makes my week, I'd say. So no, it's been good to be back as always, with plenty of sport to be talked about, and coming in not by much, but off the back of a little win in terms of the betting, a little 25-cent increase for me this week.
25-cent net win and a $9.25 win on me there, so it suddenly makes it a little bit closer. Another week like that and you'll be in the lead.
Oh, well, I started off going nice and cruisy this week, and then I kind of just blew it out right at the end there, so hopefully one of those last ones come off, because there's some pretty tasty odds there. Well, take a little look at that team of the week. Now, again, I said last week, you chucked Appy in there, and I said I didn't really want to put a Tiger in there. Off the back of a loss, I wanted to wait for that first one, and we had managed to sneak some in this week, and I wanted to do a quick, just kind of like a, what are they called? Honourable mention, because we're starting off at fullback. Now, Joe Buller on his second game in the NRL, absolutely awesome. Made a try-saving tackle there on Cleary, which
tackle of the round
completely changed the game. But very, very unlucky not to make the team this week, because Ken Gutho got himself a hattie.
Could have been in your talkback team.
Could have been in my talkback team. Got myself on the talkback today and picked a 15-a-side rugby union team of royal related names, and it could have been in the talkback. Although they did say they didn't want rugby players, and I don't know if league is allowing that or not. I'm not too sure, but
stay tuned. I'll sneak it in at the end of the potty maybe.
This is the Run Home with Kirst and Gus. It is just after 5 o'clock on your Tuesday. Teamless Tuesday. We had a brilliant message come in of a full 15, which Angus has just said it was top notch. Amen. Lay it down. That is your team. And we have a name, and we have a caller of that person, Gus.
Yeah, let's Nat from the North Shore. Let's bring him in. Nat, talk to me. This team.
Big Gus, hello mate, good to chat with you. I'm happy to be here. I was pestering you fellas to text there, because I thought I've got to come in and elaborate, because I know there was a few positions there that you thought were a little bit interesting. Yeah,
well, I'm just looking at this, mate. Great team, by the way. The wit, the smarts, the interesting use of different things,
but too skinny, you said.
But that forward pack, I've got it. It's getting eaten alive. You can't let these backs. You can't let the Eagles fly. The Peacocks fly out there.
I am with you. I am with you on that. Now, this is sort of coming from a bit of a rugby league football bias compared to my union knowledge. But now, I went for Lord Farquhar there at hooker. I thought. Now, I'm thinking of that sort of short, nuggety sort of hooker. there's a good hooker that came out of North Shore, Donald Coleman. Sort of has probably a bit more beef on him than old Lord Farquhar. But I was thinking he's kind of got that nitty gritty about him that might do the trick in the front row.
I think maybe for a league scrum, yeah, I think he suits that perfectly. But that little hairy chest in he's getting absolutely punished up there. Maybe if we switch him to 9, he's got that chat and that charisma. You know, maybe a little Brad Weber type setup or something like that. You know, surely slots in there. We
could chuck him at 9. Although then I'm a little bit worried about how we get the Kingfisher, the bird, involved in the team.
Well, you've got to
on
give
the
up.
wing, surely.
You've got to give up somewhere, do you? Because Pocahontas, I feel like Pocahontas at the back. You could have him on the Kingfisher on the wing at fullback. He can catch a nut, surely. High ball.
Well, we rate your team, Matt. Thank you so much for the call.
King Gutho, though, he gets himself the number 1 this week for the TGIF team of the week.
Hattie.
Got himself a Hattie, so good on him. Joined there in that outside backs, chucked a couple of blokes on the wings there, and Braden Burns played how much of this game on one leg?
75 minutes probably, I think. Went down quite early.
And yeah, he was just for kind of like brute strength, you know, that
absolutely.
He's got that oomph in him, you know.
He's got a bit of oomph, but what a battling performance it was.
So he's got himself there on one wing, and on the other wing, the first winning Tiger to make his way into the team of the week, and his first game back into the team since round 3. It's his first try he scored for the Tigers since
like round 14 or 15 or something last year before he gapped.
Yeah, I don't know. Early last year.
Yeah.
Because I think he had a little run where he wasn't playing too well before. He might have even been dropped before he went. I can't remember how many games he played at the start of last year, but
he was dropped. But that was for disciplinary, I think.
First try in a wee while, his 100th try, and it's Devon Ofaluma. Yeah, he's made his way into the win.
100th try and also saved one as well.
On, another huge tackle actually. Yeah,
Tarua there from Penrith, which was
the old knee,
massive.
The old ball in the knees. That's right. Yeah. So he's made his way into the team of the week. So good on him. Joined there in the backs, Campbell Graham and Avarillo.
Another doggy there that particularly broke my heart there, and Jake Avarillo, absolutely making.
Oh, he made.
I don't know what.
Looked like he was playing touch.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Sloan wouldn't have bloody touched him on that second one. Yeah,
a hardy performance.
Made him look pretty average. Couple of great tries, and then Campbell Graham as good as ever.
Yeah. What? How many tries for him? Was that
a couple?
Another 2.
Check it out.
I believe possibly. Why was I thinking hat trick? I don't think he scored a hat trick.
I don't think it was another hat trick. Definitely one try. He got that early one when they were down to 12 early on there with Cam Murray going to the bin. Friday night. Yeah, a couple.
No, it wasn't a hat trick. Yeah.
I good on him.
I thought so because I remember the commentator saying that he had gone to the top of the
NRL try
scorers list there for a while. Yeah, so a second Hattie there in your team.
Should have known. We picked him in that number 3 jersey for a reason.
Exactly. So there's your back 5. Now, we've gone for a slightly unusual halves pairing.
Yeah, look, I'd say most people, if you pick them based on the way they play, you'd line them up in the opposite jerseys. But there's some reasoning behind this. And the bloke we've gone in number 6, Nico Hines. Now, he's been vocal in his push for that sky blue number 6 jersey of the other kind. Obviously wears the sky blue of Cronulla, but he's after that full sky blue jersey of the Blues, the New South Wales Blues. Wants to snag that one off Luai. So a great performance this week.
And
I think
if we can perform in the old TGIF team of the week, I see no reason why.
I think Freddie puts huge emphasis on this for his selections.
And then
don't see why not.
An outside shout there to take the 7 off the bloke there playing for the Blues. Luke Brooks.
Yeah,
Now,
he's shortened with the bookies
after last week,
to
not
take
by
that,
much, but
New South Wales Sky Blue 7 jumper, but
an absolute unreal game from Brooksy. It was exactly what he needed. It came at the right time against the right opposition, I think. 2 40-20s that led to tries. Still a couple of dodgy looking plays on the 5th. But I felt like him and Wakem played both quite well together, and a few things that Wakem did, he kind of made up for a few of those things that Brooksy was maybe giving away, and vice versa. And but just such an awesome game, and right down to the last kick of the game, kicking it dead and making sure that ran the clock out by another 10 or 15, and they only had one play and they couldn't do anything with it. So probably if you'd asked me 3 weeks ago if I thought Brooks was going to be making it into this team of the week at all this year, I would have said no. But fingers crossed we'll be seeing him in there for a little repeat offender next week maybe.
yeah, look, if he can kick another couple of 40-20s like he did out at Bathurst, set up that first try for you as well, who knows what might happen. Great game for Brooksy, and probably fair to say the most maligned man in Australia over the last couple of years. Definitely in the rugby league stratosphere. They love to give him a bit of shit, so good to see him having a good game, and the story's kind of changed around for a week at least.
Yeah, good for now. So fingers crossed that he can get a little bit of momentum from that.
But yeah, into that forward pack, starting off with the customary double barrel there and the number 8 jersey.
The customary, not the incumbent, the customary. AFB.
But this bloke, he's starting to get incumbent
He
status.
is, yeah.
He's maybe in and out, but
75 minutes on the weekend.
a few
Playing in the middle
performances.
like the way he does. You're going to be absolutely shattered after a game like that, and in the losing side, unfortunately for him. But just an absolute unreal performance from this bloke. So he's made his way in there, and obviously no Payne Haas this week, not playing. So we missed out on him making it in as that incumbent. So we had another propping position available, and we thought there was no other bloke more deserving to take this propping position than another Tiger, and that's big David Clemmer. Now, probably been I think our most consistent performer this year so far. Probably our best as well. I think a lot of people would argue Appy, but I think it took him 3 or 4 weeks to sort of come into the swing of things a little bit. But Big Clem, he just sort of started off the way he wanted to go on. He's run hard. He gives it his all, and looked like he really enjoyed the win there at the end of the game. So Big Clem has made it in there, but man, I did just touch on a little bit. Appy Coruscant, he's made his way in as a repeat offender, coming in 2 weeks hot on the trot, taking that 9 jersey, and another just a game changer, isn't he? He's unreal, and against his old club, possibly a couple of the old tricks, check the diaries, see what you've got written down there about those Penrith lads, and tell the rest of the blokes out there and say, you get away with it. So, but an awesome performance from Appy.
Yeah, look, what a front row. Big Adam putting in the big minutes there for the Wars, and Appy, like you said, what a performance. Like, I think with Brooksy's non-traditional 7 play, it gives Appy that little bit more, I guess, freedom to scheme out of dummy half.
Yeah.
Cleary and Yo, obviously big demanders of the ball, and then you've got Luai there as well at Penrith. But with this Tigers side over the last couple of weeks, we've started to see, like you said, Appy really come into his stride, start to lead the lads around the park really well, and like you said, would have racked his memory banks for what his old teammates
well and truly
got up to on the footy field, and would have given a few tips to the Tigers lads, knowing those Penrith boys inside out. And David Clemmer, like exactly what you said. No other bloke more deserving there in the number 10 jersey. just encapsulates the phrase tough bastard, I reckon.
Yeah, he's a tough bastard. There's no doubt about that. I think that's a good way to describe him. Now, taking a look at this back row now, it's not often that you see a big boy putting up a bomb, and we saw that.
Pinpoint accuracy from 40 metres out.
We saw that on Saturday night. Big day for Favour. He's a man of many talents. I was going to say a jack of all trades, and then you go on to say the master of none, but maybe a master of all trades in terms of the rugby league world, after what we saw on Saturday. Putting up this bomb, like you said, pinpoint accuracy, just seemed to come out of nowhere.
Well, I've seen him run, kick, pass. Now I've seen him tackle. Sorry. I've seen him run, tackle, and pass. Now I've seen him kick.
Exactly.
So, who knows? With back row jersey on the line for the Maroons, I think he might just make his way back into that lineup with Nanai looking to be banned.
Yeah, misses out that first game, so it is big and good timing for big day for Favour to get a naming in the TGIF Team of the Week, as we know it has a huge weighing on the Origin selectors. The coaches there, they want to be known as making this Team of the Week, and it just helps. It gets them going a little bit more. Sticking in that back row, the other second row that we've got next to him, another bloke, unfortunately, coming from a losing team. But Lemuelu, awesome game there for him, for the Dolphins.
Couple of meat pies.
Yeah, got himself a double. A few tries in this team this week.
He was running beautiful lines. Connolly Lemuelu, what a name, eh?
Yeah, awesome. Two surnames.
Two surnames, yeah. You
often you go for those. You point out the two first name blokes.
Yeah, like if Adam dropped the Whanua and he was Adam Blake.
Yep.
He's rocking two first names there.
Campbell
Graham's rocking two first names.
We've got him in there.
Luke Brooks, I mean,
yep.
I'd probably say Brooks Koepka is probably rocking the double last name rather than Luke Brooks.
Ruth's son's called Brooks.
Okay, well,
so
Luke
there's
Brooks,
two Brooks. There's at least two now, we know. So
up for debate. So reach out if you
is Brooks a first name?
If you've got a
or a last name?
Is Luke Brooks rocking the double first name, or is Ruth's son and Brooks Koepka rocking the double last name?
Yeah, but a double last name for
it's up for conjunction.
Yeah, it is. It's maybe that's something we also need to look to bring into the Team of the Week.
It could be a big
double
factor.
First name, double last names. I don't know how
modern day footy.
I don't know what our selection pool is going to be like at the moment. Whether or not it's going to be doable, but we may look to do that weekly. I like that. I like that idea. Just on the fly, I hadn't thought of it, but I think it could be a good way to go. Just a little POD, something different about your team.
Double last name, okay.
And then a man taking this last position, taking that lock and roll, who on the field looks a little bit different compared to the rest of the blokes, and that's due to this juicy red hair, and that's big Corey Horsburgh. An awesome performance, sort of led the way there for the Raiders in their tight little win there over the Dolphins.
Speaking of Queensland jumpers, I wouldn't be surprised to see him potentially be named on the bench.
I think he would. I think he would like to be involved.
POD.
Yep, I think he'd like to be involved. That's for sure.
I think he's the sort of player that suits Origin with the
that little bit more that grunt, the intensity.
The mongrel. The oomph, he brings it week in, week out there. So don't be surprised if these few TGIF Team of the Week namings weigh heavily in Billy's selections, and we do see him earning that first State of Origin jumper because he's had a great season. Big red there to round out the team. But Magic Round this week. Does that mean no Thursday footy?
No Thursday footy. We have got the double banger on your Friday, We've got the triple threat, your Super Saturday, on your Saturday, and we've got the
Super Sunday.
the limited edition Super Sunday. Doesn't come around too often, but when it does, you got to get involved. You got to get into it, and we get to tee it off perfectly with the old TGIF derby to start our Super Sunday off, which is it's going to be awesome. It's going to make one person's weekend, and then if I lose, I'll probably go home and not watch the second two games. But before we get to the TGIF derby, we've got five games to get through before we get to that, and we start our Friday off with the Doggies going up against the Raiders. Now, the Doggies, 3 points the difference between for both of these teams aggregate score. In terms
Two close ones, yeah.
A 2-point win and a 1-point win for these two teams over the weekend. The Doggies obviously causing wounds for you there on Sunday.
It was a bit of a close match. Look, I guess probably just have to put it down to the Doggies probably just being that little bit more clinical with their chances, a little bit hungrier on defence. Again, it's only 2 points of difference, a penalty because both goal kickers missed a conversion each there. But yeah, probably can't begrudge the Dogs to win in this one, the way they performed. I think even though they didn't have their strongest lineup out there, their attitude was probably slightly better, and they nailed their plays a little bit better than we did, and it was the difference in the end. And then Canberra, obviously an emotional week for them.
Very emotional scenes. We saw
Jack and Ricky in tears almost in their post-match interviews there.
I was watching it with a couple of the boys, and I guess didn't really know the story, I guess, of what it was like as such, and I literally just explained it like a father and son, you know. He's been there for
14
so long.
years. It's literally half his life.
So it was they were kind of going, well, what's going on here, you know? And but no, it is. It's you like those sentimental moments in a rough sport like rugby league. It's nice to see the soft side sometimes come out, and we know the impact that they've obviously both had on each other throughout the years, and it will be a very different looking thing. First game next year, seeing Jackie Whiten run out in a bunny's top, and a Raiders team run out with no Jack White in there. So
yeah, I'm sure it'll break Ricky's heart.
First matchup they have against each other. It's going to be.
He's going to find that one very, very weird.
It'll be rough, yeah. But they're coming off the back, like we said, of another close win. Jamal Fogarty slotting the field goal there in Golden Point.
Yep, good on him.
After missing one there with a few minutes to go on the clock.
It was like 6 seconds. It would have been like
the first one.
Yeah,
did he take?
Like the last.
Yeah,
it was very, very last play of the game. Like there wouldn't have even been time for a kickoff. I don't think. So yeah, good on him, Jamal, slotting that one. Raiders probably pretty stoked in terms of the way things went, scoring 31 points, and then on the other hand, not very stoked to have conceded 30.
Yeah.
Especially like the lead they got out too early as well. We know the Dolphins are known for that now off the back of the huge comeback.
The comeback kings, yeah, exactly.
Gold Coast there, but look, I think obviously Canberra with the win, they'll be stoked with that as well. It's probably, like I keep saying with them, they're picking up these close wins in those games. Goes a long way towards making the 8. You look back at the end of the season, and Canberra might just sneak in if they can keep doing that. Pippin wins, and I think it's another one just based off the fact the Dogs again. Injury ravaged they will be for the next few weeks, I'd say. I do think Canberra probably come away with the win in my head. for this one. Although I'm thinking the doggies can probably rally the troops again. Josh Reynolds is the sort of bloke that definitely encapsulates that sort of spirit and loves it in a doggies jersey. And
it's hard to pick.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that you don't know. Like Jack Biden turns up and has a blinder. I don't think the dogs can handle him. But if it's a tough, tight one, like we saw last week, Matty Burton's kicking game might end up being the difference. That big left boot of it.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I've kind of, as I said before, I kind of tried to take it nice and easy this week. Now, kind of went with the old stick with what you know to start off as the entree. Nice and nice and easy. Kind of like you go to your favourite restaurant and you get in the garlic bread, or you get in your calamari, your sliders. I don't know what you're going. Something like that for your entree. You might go to a restaurant and get a pumpkin soup every time for your entree. Not something I'm going to do.
Don't think you'd ever see me do that, but there's probably people out there.
Sometimes you do. You got to stick with what you know, and that's what I've gone for. To start my round this week, a first half try scorer. Introduced them only about a month or so ago now, and I think I've fallen in love with it. It brings an added bit of spice to the old anytime try scorer, and it just pumps those odds up a little bit. And that bloke we spoke about there who caused a bit of terror for your lads on the weekend, Jakey Averillo, $4.60. Get himself a meaty in that first half, and hopefully then after that, that'll start me off in a bit of a rise, and maybe next week we can see maybe the rise of a new dawn starting off. I've got myself back into a lead and hopefully can continue to rise. But $4.60 to start myself off this week, and I don't think I've increased. I think every bet possibly might be above that this week. I think so. Hopefully a bit of money coming into the bank.
Look, if you can hit 9 from 9, you'll certainly be delivering a fair bit of cash this week.
I'll be away laughing if that's the case.
But Jakey Averillo, yeah, look, give him the Steeden early on. We saw what he can do up against the Dragons, so why not? Feed him the Steeden. I'll be a happy man. Goes on to be a doggies win, $2.40. I'll be happy as well. That's my tip for the week. But the second game there for our Friday is another one. We had the same fixture last year, a Manly home game in Brisbane against Brisbane.
Yeah, continue on with that theme of Brisbane having the lovely luck of the draw in terms of their fixtures this time around. Pretty rough on Manly. I don't think the players or anyone involved with Manly will be too stoked with having to sacrifice a home game here to. I've just clicked. So does that mean we've bloody sacrificed a home game here as well? That's a bugger. I hadn't even clicked. Yeah, I don't think. I think the Manly fans might be a bit like me. Possibly some of them.
I think all the
they
West
might be
fans...
checking it and then going, "Oh fuck, bugger! I've just realised we're sacrificing a home game." But yeah, a bit rough on Manly. But they're coming up against the Brisbane side, who will be needing to bounce back after what we saw last week.
Yeah, they will. Both these sides will be. Both coming off the losses there. Brisbane, obviously, a big one at the hands of Souths at home. And then Manly, a little bit out of character for them at home. Maybe not too much of a shock if you include the Tommy Turbo factor for them. But, yeah, look, I think even the week before, Manly, it wasn't that great when they scraped a win up against you guys. It was definitely one that most footy fans out there just thought the Tigers deserved a win. But yeah, look, if both of these sides can bring what they've shown to be their best footy this year, I'm sure it'll be an absolute banger of a game, this one. I think on the whole, both playing really well, sitting first and second before last week.
Yeah, I think they were.
So
yeah.
I think Brisbane is still first.
Brisbane is still top. Manly dropped down a few places.
Yeah, it's
there.
very congested in there. But look, Big Payne Haas, he's back. Tommy Turbo's back, although unfortunately for Manly, Jakey Turbo is sitting this one out with a calf injury. So hopefully they can, share the workload around the forwards, and Tommy Turbo can do his thing out the back there. But with Big Payne Haas to contend with, it's going to be a tough night out for that Manly forward pack.
Yeah, missing Jakey going to be a big blow, I think, for Manly, especially with that reintroduction there of Payne Haas after missing last week. And this Brisbane team are going to be really fired up, you'd imagine, after coming off that. Yeah, quite a big loss in the end, 26 points, I think it was, in the end. And I don't think they'll be happy with that defence at all. And looking to try and get a few more points on the board. So I have a feeling that this unusual home game for Manly may end up quite poor for the amount of fans that they will have there. I'm sure there'll be quite a few. There'll be a few from all over, obviously, with it being
it'll be a big festival.
I'm sure
it'll be dominated by Brisbane fans.
It'll be packed out by Brisbane fans for this one, yeah, exactly. And I think those lads will be up for it, coming off that big loss, looking to bounce back and continue that reign there at the top of the table.
Yep, I think so. And I've done that in my tips. Or my tip, sorry. Not a big win for Brisbane, a close one, 1-12. And their magic man out the back there, Reece Walsh, he's going to cross the stripe. And if you bundle those two together, $7.75.
Yeah.
Probably one of my better value tips for the week.
Definitely the magic man there for Brisbane, and I like that bet, $7.75. It's I can definitely see that coming off. Now, that man we just spoke about, who's coming back into that team, Payne Haas, big game player. They score in big games. Now, Payne Haas, no doubt a big game player. He's going to come out to a hot start. He is starting, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just checking because that's a good omen there. Jersey number.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I hadn't even noticed that. Basically, Payne Haas to cross the try line in the first half. Again, stick with what you know. $10 for the number 10. Should have gone Payne Haas to score on the 10th minute. Who knows if it comes off. If he scores in the 10th minute, what game's that Friday? I'm buying a lot of ticket. But Payne Haas score in the first half, $10 return. Both those first two come off. I should surely be in the lead after that, I'd hope.
Yeah, I think so. Unless I can pull mine both off as well. We are obviously sitting there, not parallel with our bets, but they can all come off. We haven't contradicted each other, but that'll round out our Friday. And we move into the Super Saturday. The first game here features the Wars up against the Panthers. Now, the Wars obviously managed to make your weekend that little bit sweeter there on Sunday afternoon after the big win on Saturday night. Losing at home in the poor conditions there to the Chooks.
Yeah, now really, really poor conditions here in Auckland, and it was pissing down with rain, and the Chooks just sort of seemed to, again, a little bit like the Tigers, I think, seemed to play that better footy for the conditions, but played a bit more through the middle, kept it nice and easy with the hands, and I think the Warriors just, it was a tough one. It was 2-0 for a wee while, and
A couple of tries for forwards, Radley and Tupanua there.
6 or 8-0 at half time.
8-0.
8-0. But yeah, it's nice to see them with the odd donut.
Yeah.
Nice to see them, the Roosters there keeping the clean sheet. So I'm sure they'll be wanting to come back out firing. Obviously, again, they're sacrificing a home game. Although I'm sure that won't be too much harm to the Warriors fans after the last few years. They're coming up against this Penrith side who have been on the other hand of possibly one of the greatest upsets of rugby league history, I think, really. They're going to be fired up for this one. Losing to the Tigers, I was saying last week, I don't know if I was saying it on the pod or just to you, that you've got the team, the Tigers, they're getting shit because they have lost 7 in a row. But then the time has to come when they do break that streak. And do you want to be the team or the bloke or the lass or whoever it is, whatever you are involved in, do you want to be the person who has broken the streak? You've lost 13 on the trot and then won? Or do you want to be the person that's just every day? Maybe you might be up the top, you might be in the middle, you might be at the bottom as well. Who is the unfortunate person to be on the other end of that? To be the one that the curse or the streak is broken on. Because you'd like to think that it could have been quite rough on Sunday there for some of those Penrith fans waking up. They might not have tuned into the game. They might have thought it was a shoe-in 2-pointer.
Automatic 2 points, yeah.
Wake up in the morning, see the score.
I'm sure there would have been a few Penrith fans getting shit from their neighbours out west. I'm sure there's a few streets with Penrith and Tigers fans mixing and mingling around. But yeah, look, in the pissing rain there, they probably... Yeah, look, I guess we'll chat about Wests in a bit, but I don't think Penrith brought their absolute best for this one. Pissing down with rain, and like you said before with the Chooks, the opposite of what you said to the Chooks, just probably overcomplicated things compared to Wests, going straight through the middle there, and the Chooks got it right as well, must have watched that game. But yeah, I think just those lower percentage plays in those conditions, they normally stick for a side like Penrith. They've got heaps of talent there. They can throw the ball around and do whatever they like half the time, but in the pissing rain, it's obviously a lot harder to do.
I think they had 7 or 8 errors at some stage.
I think
5 minutes to go in the first half, and we only had 1. And
I think there was
the other way
3 or
around.
4 errors that were like Stephen Crichton errors, where it was like, they were shifting it wide on a play, and it's like maybe not the best option in those conditions, but I think that makes it 3 games they've lost in the rain this year. They were saying St Helens, Brisbane, and West now, so yeah, they'll be hoping that it's nice and dry.
Yep,
come Saturday afternoon there.
Although I'm sure the Warriors will be too.
Yes, I think so.
Not that I think it's going to matter too much somehow.
I said last week with the Wars, I think they'll be really good against the teams sort of outside of that top 4, but they might struggle up against the big boys. We saw them lose to Melbourne Roosters. Obviously, you've got the Broncos up there this year, and Penrith, obviously, coming up against this week, of course, and I'm expecting them to bounce back. Although, you never know what happens. Magic round. There could be a little bit of magic involved for the Warriors, but I highly doubt it. And that's what we've done in our tips here. We've
leaned heavily
towards
this
Penrith.
one, exactly. I've just upped it, really. It's not a first half. It is tries. It's the third game. Third game? It is the third game. 3 tries for this bloke. Stephen Crichton, get himself a hat trick, $16. I've upped those odds.
Juicy.
That's got them a little bit juicier there with the old hat trick involved, and 3 from 3, fingers crossed, we'll be away laughing.
Look, that'll be two happy lads. If Stephen Crichton can get a hat trick, he'll be one, and you'll be the second. I like it. Like I said, made a couple of errors last week, so he'll be looking to bounce back as well, personally. And I think he's the sort of man to step up on a magic round. We've seen him do it in grand finals before, big games for Penrith. So why not? That'll feed well into my bet. Penrith 13+, into Dylan Edwards to cross the stripe. $4.52. A little bit more humble. Nearly a fourth. A little bit more than a quarter of your odds. But potentially a little bit more of a banker. You never know. We'll move on to Cronulla versus Dolphins.
Game 2 of your Super Saturday. Now, the Sharkies absolutely destroyed the Cowboys last week.
Yeah, giving North Queensland's an absolute rugby league shellacking. Worrying signs for the Finns, I think. If their defence has been leaky the last few weeks, and if it is again up against Nico Hines and co.
He's on another planet, Nico Hines, and obviously the Dally M winner from last year, and just an unreal beast.
As we said, chasing that sky blue jersey that he was so vocal about snagging off Jerome Luai there. So interesting to see how they both play in the run into Origin and who can get the nod from Freddie there. But yeah, look, the Sharkies, they're playing some really good footy off the back of Nico, aren't they?
Unreal footy, and I've spoken about it a few times, sort of like that Tommy Turbo like impact, just what he brings to the rest of the blokes around the park, and seems to be just that dude who week in, week out brings in those awesome performances, and I think you'd be pretty happy each week as a Sharkies fan seeing him running out there for your team. But this Dolphins side now, it's been an interesting season for them so far. The really hot start and the loss of Kafusi taking a big impact on them. They've had a couple of really tight games, obviously on the wrong end of it last week with that Golden Point loss there, and it just seems to get a little bit tougher for them this weekend up against the Sharkies here, and I kind of, you got to feel for them. It's the ocean battle, the Sharks up against the Dolphins, and I think it's kind of written in the stars here. Unfortunately, I don't know how many.
I think Dolphins are smarter and travel in bigger packs, so they might be all right. But
I think
they're going 13
the
sharks.
ratio of Sharks eating Dolphins to Dolphins eating Sharks way higher to Sharks.
Yeah, way higher, and it spells ominous signs.
Disaster
for the Dolphins in this one, because look, the battle of the Finns. I don't know, man. Like you said, a shark does eat a lot more dolphins than dolphins eat sharks. So it'll be very hard for the Finns. Although similar to Canberra, they might not be too stoked with the defence, but scoring 30 points, they've been scoring them lately after maybe that was something that they've been criticised for early in the season. Maybe just having that one game plan where they get you in a tight game and can win that arm wrestle. But the Hammer, he's been playing some wicked footy. Obviously not to rival the likes of Nico, but he's getting close to having that sort of impact on the Dolphins there. Crossing the stripe in pretty much every week that he's run out there in the vanilla Coke jersey. So yeah, they could do another upset, but your head says the Sharks get the chockies in this one, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be done. I think the ratios of shark attacks on dolphins,
I'd rather go
it's
for
got to be at least 2-1.
I'd rather go for a swim with a dolphin than a shark. So for that reason, I'll be supporting the Dolphins in this one.
But
And the fact that the Sharks and the Dragons are rivals, but also the swimming.
you're getting
factor.
into a different beast then when we're getting into a real dragon fighting a real life, excuse me, shark or a dolphin. So
Yeah, that's just sort of
it's
living
out
in
of the-
fantasy
a bit out
land.
of the ballpark there, but
Unless you're talking Komodo, then
I think you're done for as a kimono, unfortunately.
Yeah. absolutely.
Barring, especially in water, done for.
Out of water, would roll both of them.
Very tough.
Just wait it out.
In a cage,
Just wait it out.
like a what are those steel cage matches for wrestling? Shark wins.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Shark
thrash
just fucking
around.
thrashes. Bites
Done.
his fucking head off or some shit. Yeah.
Done. Early days.
Oh,
Now-
that would be gnarly, eh?
Back in terms of the footy, I do think these Sharkies possibly may run away with it, and one bloke, hopefully, I'll be crossing my fingers for to run away with it at least twice and cross that try line twice, is Jesse Ramian, and he'll hopefully pocket me $7.75.
That's pretty good value there. What does he play, left centre or right centre? Trying to think.
Trying to think as well.
Right?
Right.
Right centre, yeah. Yeah, spread the ball right, Sharkies. Especially, is that where Nakora plays? No, Nakora's left, isn't he?
You're asking the wrong bloke.
Yeah, I don't know, but Cronulla 1 to 12 into Nakora anytime try scorer. That's my bet, my tip for you this week, and that's going to get you a little bit more value than Nats, which is a little bit of an inverse of a theme. $8.45. So a couple of good value bets for you there. Take your pick, one or the other, or both, if that tickles your fancy. But we'll move into the final game there for our Super Saturday, and it's a good one here. Over the last few years, it's turned into a little bit of a rivalry, I think, ever since GI made the move over, and that's Melbourne up against Souths.
Yeah, huge game. I don't know what the word was I was looking for there, but a huge game. It is
Often
you said.
like first versus fourth.
Yeah, a
or
huge
second
rivalry
versus
though, like you
third.
said, since probably that Inglis moment there, but it's a huge matchup, and maybe not the Storm that we're used to seeing. I don't think it's kind of like a different look Storm these days. It's not ever since they lost that sort of spine of Cronk and Slater and Smith. It's started to look that little bit different. And, really, yeah, not really. I guess NRL and rugby league are so synonymous with the Storm being at the top. You're kind of used to seeing them up there, and obviously not languishing down the bottom or anything like that. But it's not a Storm side that we're kind of used to seeing. But I'm sure give them a few more weeks once Pep's back, well, maybe a month and a bit or so. Surely they'll be there or thereabouts by then. And who knows, we may end up still seeing a Melbourne coming away with that minor premiers, but not really what we're used to seeing from Melbourne, I don't think, this season so far.
Yeah, it's so congested that anyone could really make a run at this stage. But the way I think Souths have been playing the last sort of 3 weeks to a month, they've probably been just about the form side in the comp. Certainly the way, Charles, Cody Walker, and like we mentioned, Campbell Graham is playing top of the scoring charts there with, what is it, 11 now? And then I think
11, yeah.
Latrell has 9, so scoring tries for fun, those two, and Cody Walker's at the centre of it, setting it all up, so they'll be tough to stop, and I reckon it'll probably have to be the reason why I'm backing South to get the win in this one. It's just off that recent form. Melbourne obviously coming off the back of a bye, so they'll be well rested there. And they do have their own big name players who'll be ready to stand up in this one. You did mention that shift in the spine there, but they do have a few lads in Hughes, Munster and Grant there, and like you said, Pat waiting in the wings obviously, but the three that are out there, they can do just about anything on a football field, and you chuck a little bit of a rogue neck minute out there playing some awesome Anzac Day footy. If he can bring that sort of form into this one, Melbourne will be away laughing, I reckon, but I think South's coming off the back of smashing Brisbane in Brisbane last week. You talk about form and confidence. I think they'll be keen to make another trip up to Brisbane there and pick up another 2 points, and I think that's the way most people will be leaning based on current form, I reckon.
Yeah, I think it's hard to
I mean,
sort of
Brisbane
pass them.
didn't have Haas, Mam and Oates, but still, like, they dominated them there.
It's really hard to go past the Bunnies in this one here. Like you said, probably the informed team of the NRL at the moment. And I think they're going to be too strong. We seem to be speaking about them each week. Latrell and Campbell Graham, Walker there, like you said, all these blokes there just putting in the shift, and one of those blokes has made his way into my bet this week. Sort of gone a bit more your route there, I guess. The old result into a try score. I haven't whipped out one of these for a wee while, and we've just gone South's 1-12 into the trial, $6.16. Nothing too flashy to finish off your Saturday. Save that for your Sunday, I guess.
Yeah, look, another game where I've delivering slightly more value than you. Probably the only 2 times this week, but Souths to win. No margin, could be 1-12, could be 13 plus. Into Latrell as well. But I've also added a little bit of the league's top try scorer to extend his tally there to 12 at least. Campbell Graham as well, $8.03. So another game where we're looking to bring you value here, and do with it what you will. You could chuck one or the other on, or you could even chuck both on. They don't contradict each other.
So I think we've only got the one game that contradicts this week, and that is this one here.
Yep.
The old TGIF derby, the first game of your Super Sunday, and it's a big game for both teams here.
Yeah.
Huge game for both teams. One team on a 1-game win streak, absolutely flying high, and one team on the back of 4.
Yep.
In a row now, 4 losses in a row. The Tigers up against the Dragons, the TGIF derby. What a week it was, what a weekend it was. What a Saturday night. It was one of the most nervy moments, I think, of my life, that whole second half.
It's been 273 days you've had to wait.
To wait since the last win. I don't know who we
that feeling.
last bet. What, round 21 or 22, I think it was last year. So it's good. It's so good.
It's a good feeling.
Fingers crossed we can do it up against this Dragons team who coming off the back of another heartbreaking loss, another close one, another tight one, and another one where you were in it right until the death.
Yeah, look, another one where obviously I mentioned before, Birdo did miss one of his kicks as well, and Probably can't begrudge the doggies the win on the day, but another one. You look back in the goal kicking column and what could have been, maybe. Had Lomax have slotted all 3 kicks, it's tough to say. Kicking one from the sideline, but yeah, as you said, opposite ends of the emotional spectrum coming into this one. 4 losses in a row. Hoping to avoid 5, and then, yeah, like you said, getting that monkey off the back. As we said before, shout out to Noffa for reaching his 100th try. It's a big milestone there. Don't know how many lads have done it, but not too many.
No, it wasn't just 100 for the Tigers, was it?
No, because he's got a handful for the Storm.
Because I know that he's the top try scorer for the Tigers, so there's...
Yeah, because he went even with Benji like a year or 2 ago.
Yeah. He's got at least 84.
Well, I don't think he went to the Storm in half a season and scored like 16 tries. So it's got to be less than 10 to go. I reckon. But yeah, obviously this one, Zach Lomax and Jacob Little, the casualties from the Dragons team list, suffering the dreaded axe this week. Jacob Little would have been pretty cut.
Would have been ready to go for this one, yeah.
Excited to show something up against the Tigers. But I think, yeah, look, if you run down the team lists, we should be in for a good game. I think it's 2 sides that if you thought maybe going into the season everything went well, they'd be at least fighting for the 8, if not scraping in there around that 6 to 8 spot. But yeah, hasn't been the best of seasons for both of us. I don't know what to think for this one. The Dragons will be coming in with low confidence. The Tigers super high confidence. But yeah, I think we should be in for a good tight game in this one. Really,
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it's
the way we've been playing,
matchup.
like 15th versus 17th, like should be a good matchup. Like, and obviously we're both invested in it. Might not be the best for a neutral if we're not executing all our plays there.
6-4-1
with like 12 errors to fucking 15 errors or something like that. But you never know. It could be a good game, and I'm hoping to avoid 5 L's in a row. Sounds a little bit pretentious of me after whatever it was.
It's not nice.
12 or 13.
It's not nice.
Maybe like 11 even, if it was around 21 last year. But yeah, it's not nice. Hopefully get that back in the winning circle, but as you said, one end of the couch is going to be disappointed, whether it's the Saints side or the West side. But I think if it is 5 losses in a row, that'll probably spell the end of Anthony Griffin, I reckon. Maybe not, sacked right away, but I don't know.
There's not
I don't
too
know
much
if he's going to be
for him, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be going in with much on his side of the table in terms of renegotiating a deal to stay there in the long term. So you never know. It could mean that long term things turn around for the Dragons if we do get a loss in this one. But it's tough to take those short term losses for the long term gains, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a rough one. I don't know how much longer.
Both our clubs are in this situation. We've got to rebuild. We've got a few superstars here and there, but something off about both our clubs, I reckon.
Yeah, it's not looking good. So hopefully for one of us can turn it around. Fingers crossed it's not a draw. Definitely not what I'm after here.
That'll be an anticlimactic one.
Yeah, that would be a bugger. And I've kept it close. Tigers went to 12 into Bula. I think the exact same as when I went last week. It didn't come off, and he's got to get his first try at some stage. And what better game to do it than the old TGIF derby, and to get me $7.06.
Yeah, look, if he's got any footwork, tell him to
Get it slung.
Yeah, well, it's tough. You got to break the line to get at the fullback, obviously, but tell him to support and stay close to Appy there and see if he can burst him through for that one-on-one with Sloan. But I've got to do it. I think I might actually lock this in for the rest of the year, a little bit like Payne Haas. In the team of the week there, Dragons 13 plus, and just see what it delivers me week to week. It's probably going to offer me a little bit more value than your average NRL side, as we are sitting 15th or 16th, wherever it is on the table. And the longer that loss streak continues, the more that'll pump up. Yeah, so 375 this week. Hoping to deliver it, but again, if there's another good thing to come out of the loss, it'll mean that this one will offer me more value next week.
Game 1, Super Sunday.
It's on.
Done and dusted. It's going to be a big one. It's going to set us up for Roosters up against the Cowboys. Now, the Roosters obviously coming away with that wet weather win there on the weekend, and
grinding one out.
The Cowboys coming off the back of as we said, a classic rugby league shellacking. Two very different outcomes for these two teams. I'm sure it would have been two very different team talks post game, very different training sessions post game, and two teams who will be. One team who will be looking to continue their run of form, and one team who's going to be looking to have a absolute U-turn, bit of a 180, and hopefully come out producing something very, very different.
Yeah, look, the Chooks, they've definitely been a little bit up and down. They'll, like you said, they would have been up after last week, and the Cows, look, it's been pretty much all down for them this year. I believe sitting in 16th in the table. Worrying signs for the Cows. It's starting to look like maybe they will struggle to turn it around this year. Nanai's obviously picked up a lengthy ban off the back of a hideous hip drop tackle there that saw Hamlin Uali stand up and peg the ball at his face. Don't know if you remember that one, but that was quite hectic there. Joining Taumalolo there on the sidelines, it's starting, it just doesn't look good for the Cows. They will be hoping for that 180. And I think most punters will find this one pretty straightforward, really. The Chooks definitely look like they're playing the better footy at the moment.
Yeah, I think this one's, the writing is kind of on the wall already, I think, here in this one. The odds, it was rough looking at these odds. There wasn't too much going on, like you said. I think
nothing much on offer, no.
This is where I started to kind of just, these last two games, I just thought I'd just try and really pump it up a little bit, and I looked at something different. Went into the old exact winning margin. I guess 16 is my favourite number. Something drew me to Roosters winning by 16, and it's going to get you $15 now. Very, very low, slim to no chances of this coming off really. But $15, I couldn't go past it. Something drew me to it. Felt like this was the game where something nutty was going to happen.
28-12. Yeah. 34-18.
Yeah, well, who knows?
I think it's something that could quite
19-3.
The Cows are going to be desperate, so I think it will be. Yeah, like it's also in Brisbane as well, so like surely there'll be more Cows fans and Roosters fans there. But again, who knows? Roosters fans, a bit like Souths fans, they're probably everywhere. Yeah, look, it's a tough one to sort of find any value. I tried, but didn't end up really delivering here. But Chook's 13 plus into the hectic cheese to cross the stripe. He spent a bit of time in Townsville at the Cows before he moved down to the Storm, so hopefully a big performance from him up against one of his old clubs. $4.39. Can't say I have a story around the numbers or anything, but come on the hectic cheese.
Yeah, exactly. Both bets can still come off, barring that last one. And then that leads us into the last game of Magic Round, the big round of the year, and that is the Titans up against the Eels. Now, the Titans coming away with that win up against Manly last week. It's maybe a slight shock to some, but possibly maybe just more Manly not really being up for the game again. Tommy Turbo missing. First game again with him out, and they seem to fall away a little bit. Maybe they do, as everyone says, they rely on him a little bit too much, possibly, and it showed in this one here. And the Titans were able to come away with the 2 points, which I think they'll be fairly happy about, especially where Manly was sitting on the table. As you said before, sitting up there in second before this last round.
Yeah, it's always tough going to Brookie and picking up a win. So Gold Coast will be stoked with that one. The Titans there, and particularly Kieran Foran coming up against the club, which gave him so many happy memories picking up a win against them. David Fafita, we mentioned his exploits in the team of the week, but I think he's just about having himself the season of his career so far. Obviously early days, and he'll have to do it for another 15 rounds yet, but capping it all off with that inch perfect bomb, as we said.
Yeah,
meat pie.
Good to see a big bloke putting up a bomb like that.
Meat pie as well, which was good. And then a couple for their flyer, Khan Pereira, as well, down the wing. Leaves them in good stead, good form for this week, but another one, not like the Chooks in terms of how good and poor they might have been, but another one similar, up and down. 1 week it's a really good performance. The next week they're left a little bit wanting, so it'll be a lot tougher this week, and hopefully for their fans that make that short trip up to Brizzy for Magic Round, wait it out for the last game of that Sunday evening there before heading back for an early Monday morning of work. It makes it all worthwhile for them, but coming up against a Parramatta side who absolutely walloped the Knights there at home last week. A certain theme of the Parramatta side over the last few years, really. If we want to talk about a side being up and down, Parramatta definitely encapsulate that. They're brilliant for a week or two, and then they lose to a side they shouldn't lose to. So you never know what comes out of this one. Interesting to see what sort of Parramatta side show up in this one, and what sort of Gold Coast side show up, because they could make for a close game, or it could make for a big win for either side.
Yeah, exactly.
Both teams have been up and down.
Yeah, I think it's hard to probably not go towards Para. Like I sort of said last week, maybe starting to find
I think Para should be too strong in this one.
Find their form a little bit.
Gold Coast good support at Suncorp, but like I said, that late slot on Sunday might be a bit rough, but it's Magic Round. I'm sure Parramatta will be up for it.
Oh, well and truly.
They're up for those big occasions more often than not.
And another team that's similar, like what you're saying about the Warriors, seem to do, actually a little bit opposite, I guess, seem to do well in those big games up against those teams that are pushing around the top four. So maybe it is a game where you see the Titans come away with that shock win, possibly. Is it a shock? It depends on where you're relying, I guess. But a magical round deserves a magical bet to sign off. And I've managed to find a bet that's going to return a walloping $41.28. That's a four-banger of tries. Now, two blokes we've already spoke about. David Fafita, Pereira, 2 blokes there for the Titans, so hopefully across the try line. We then have Gutho, the hat-trick hero from last week. And Jermaine Hopgood has just been another outstanding performer there for the Eels.
He's the value booster in this, I reckon.
Oh yeah, and he was the value booster. He was the last to be put in there. And if all 4 of those blokes can cross the try line on Sunday, $41.28, there's no doubt that I'll be in the lead.
You'll be in the lead
coming into this round.
It'll be a bet if it comes off. You better be putting that one on.
I'll be putting it on.
Real.
I'll be putting it on
because that'll be a good one to come off. That'll, if it's you chuck $1 on that and that sorts your kitty for the next few weeks, and you chuck $10 on that, and all of a sudden Rotorua's on the cards.
Exactly.
For a weekend. Or maybe you just put it towards the
Rarotonga fund, I think.
The drink fund or the food fund or something. But do you mind just whipping out Neds on your phone and getting the odds for my one?
Oh, I didn't check it in there. What do we got?
No, that's
Gold Coast to win.
Gold Coast to win 1-12. I just want to find a little bit of value in this one to round out the week. My head's leaning towards Parramatta, but my heart's leaning towards Gold Coast. And if they can pull this one off for me,
$3.90.
$3.90. Not bad for a nice simple one-legged bet. If Parramatta show up a little bit shaky, and Gold Coast come away with a good win and a good close affair. To round out your magic round.
Exactly, and unfortunately for the Novocastrians, missing out here with the old bye in this one this time around.
Yes, now, look, is it a bad time to miss out on a game, magic round, potentially? You miss out on the fun. I don't know if the Newcastle boys will be allowed to go and watch a bit of footy, maybe.
Who knows?
Potentially not, after the back of a dicking at the hands of Parramatta last week, as we just mentioned there. So they'll need to rediscover that recipe that served them so well in the earlier rounds of the competition, because it seems to be slipping a little bit in the last few weeks potentially for them. Definitely against Parramatta, I think what was 43 points they ran in, it could have been another 20. Parramatta spurned a few tries there to maybe let Newcastle off the hook a little bit. Tough to say when they're running in 43 points, but surely with Ponga getting a few more minutes under the belt, keen to prove he deserves that Queensland jersey over the likes of Reece Walsh and the Hammer, who have been going so well for their respective sides in the one jersey. Hopefully for Newcastle's sake, that spurs them on. And Ponga, Lockie Miller, their forward pack's going pretty well on the whole, so Jackson Hastings steering the ship around. If they can rediscover that recipe, I'm sure they'll be back in the scrap.
There or thereabouts, exactly.
A little bit worrying over the last few weeks, but they've got an extra week to sort it all out. Whether that's a good or bad thing, you never know.
Exactly, an extra week and plenty of good footy on the cards for them to tune into. Now, that'll wrap us up for the NRL this week. Now, we get into the sad part of the show now, I guess, in terms of having a quick look at Arsenal now. It's unfortunate that it's not gone as well as we may have hoped. Obviously, coming off the back of that City result.
We spoke about that last week. No football from the Arsenal to chat about, but
City coming off the back of another win yesterday morning. They're now officially top of the table. And they still have the game in hand. So
I saw a graphic. Days at the top of the table.
Yeah, 247
or something. 17 and 9 for Spurs early doors there. So it's obviously another quick little run through Arsenal as the world around them seems to be falling apart.
It's even the women's team this morning knocked out
Knocked
of the Champions League
semis
119th
there.
minute winner for Wolfsburg. So
Absolutely heartbreaking.
rough days, but a team that is in a rougher position than us at the moment, which is good to see, is Chelsea. And tomorrow morning here for us, our time, it won't come. This won't be out, unfortunately, by the time this is done. But we're crossing our fingers that we've got to win. Hopefully, a couple of goals in the bank. It's a tough one when you come up against a team like Chelsea, even regardless of where they are in the table. But I do have a feeling that that may come into play a little bit more than possibly what it usually would in a game like this. And I see no reason why we can't go into that Newcastle game with an extra 3 points. Hopefully.
Yeah, Chelsea have been playing really shit this year, but they do have the names that any given day they can turn it on and play some good football. But this will be it for the Arsenal. We'll have to win every single game to even have a scrap of a chance. We'll need City to obviously drop points in their game in hand and again. So worrying signs there. But this will be a complete set of undefeated London derbies if we can come out of this
Come
one.
over with this with just at least a point.
But we'll be hoping for, like you said, 3 points and hopefully a few goals to make sort of lift the mood around the fan base. It's always good, no matter where you sit on the table, to beat one of your local rivals. And I think apart from Tottenham, there's no one sweeter for an Arsenal fan to beat in terms of London derbies. But Chelsea, as you've mentioned many times over the years, probably one of your favourite teams to beat. Obviously Spurs.
My favourite team to beat is Chelsea.
We
I'd
love
say,
to
yeah.
disrespect Spurs, but no disrespect as well. Haven't been as good of a side as Chelsea, obviously.
Yeah, I think
in
Chelsea
terms
are my
of
favourite. Or United.
winning trophies over us. Yeah, well, United and Chelsea definitely.
Probably City soon.
City in the next 3 or 4 years, they would have won every league. So
Possibly this team that we've got to play next up as well in the future, and that's Newcastle.
on the weekend, I believe.
Yeah, coming up this weekend, and I think this is the bigger game out of the two. But it will all matter for nothing if we can't get the result there against Chelsea. But this Newcastle one, definitely a tougher task, and definitely in terms of the fact that Newcastle obviously pushing for that Champions League spot. They'll be wanting to lock in third, I'm sure.
Yeah, look, Newcastle have been playing awesome football this year, of course. A big sign of where the lads are at compared to last year. Obviously, we've improved like tenfold compared to last year. Being involved in this title race for so long. But this one was definitely one that we struggled in last year. We got played off the park, 2-0, 3-0 was it?
3, I think, yeah.
I don't know if we got a shot on them for a long time in that game, and I remember that being the game, Xhaka came out and sort of had a go at the rest of the lads because he was sort of the only one that, not that he said this, but this is what I think, he was the only one that showed any character on the day, any fight. The rest of the lads sort of all got a bit shell-shocked and hid in their shell off the back of the loss to Tottenham, so it'll be a big sign to see if we can make that bounce back and go to a hostile atmosphere and pick up the win there, because we'll need to. And like you said, they'll need to as well in that run-in for Champions League football. Because things are tightening up, I think. Newcastle will be hoping to cement as many points, as many wins as they can. Look, I think if we play well against Chelsea, we might be favourites again, but going off the back of our last few weeks, you'd probably even put Newcastle
You'd probably
favourites.
be putting Newcastle favourites, I'd say, yeah.
And the fact that last year was such a poor performance for us going to St James's there, but hopefully we can make that turn around, go there and get the win, because look, Newcastle have lifted another level as well. It's not just us compared to last year. So tough game. Don't know if that's on Sunday morning or Monday morning. Might have to check that one out.
Oh, good. Sunday, I think. I'll have a little look, but it does. I guess that probably wraps us up for the footy as such. There has been a little bit of cricket on. I've kind of actually forgotten all about the cricket. I think it's a lot harder with it being offshore. It is a lot. I guess it's just not as.
It's not as easy.
Maybe the leaving the school holidays as well. I'm possibly a bit more aware of my sport during the school holidays. Monday morning, 3:30, bugger.
Yeah, so that'll be a
Bugger.
a rough one to tune in
What a
live
shit
for the hours.
time.
But back to the cricket. Things have not been going well for the Black Caps since we last spoke. We managed to do really well in those T20s, in the third and fifth one there. The fourth obviously hailed out in spectacular fashion, but
That's right.
the first and second ODIs, don't know if you've seen them, but fucker Zaman, an absolute fucker.
I've heard on the radio. I'm sure. I know that I've heard something, but nothing springs to mind. The only cricket related news that I've got is, I believe, an ex-Pakistani cricketer who's joining the Black Caps coaching team. That's all I'm aware of currently in the world of cricket currently.
I didn't see that, so
That was just on
interesting.
tonight's news.
Okay, I'll have to tune in there. But yeah, fucker Zaman, an absolute fucker for Pakistan. From New Zealand fans' point of view, racking up hundreds in both games to steer the host to victory, including 180 not out in the second game there. So
Fucking hell.
don't know what we're going to do about him to turn things around, but things are going well for Big Daryl Mitchell. Now, he's also backed up with back-to-back hundreds in the first and second game there.
I did hear that actually. Yes, that's what I'd heard on the radio.
So shout out to Big Daz for racking up the runs. We saw Mark Chapman have an awesome series in the T20s. Big Daz Mitch. Scoring plenty of runs there, which is good to see. Unfortunately not leading us to victory. Well supported in the first game, Will Young with an 86, and Tom Latham falling agonisingly short of 100. Got out for 98, which it's not as rough as 99, I suppose. But it's close, and it's got to be gunning. So hopefully we can do what we did in the T20s. We went down 2-0 there, managed to turn it around to 2-all.
Claw it back a little bit, eh?
Yeah, hopefully we can do the same here in the third and fourth ODIs. Set up a series decider, but tough to do it over there in Pakistan. They're very strong in their home conditions, and it's tough, I guess, for Kiwis to get the reps over there. We don't really play very many games, although this will be our 8th in the space of a few weeks, so hopefully the lads
It's time to warm up a bit.
can get themselves attuned to the 50 over conditions as they did in the 20 over conditions so well. Third ODIs tonight, so hopefully we can wake up to some good news. I believe they start at like 10:30 first ball.
Okay, so
So
done and
probably
dusted
won't.
by the time. No, there'll be a little bit to play, I'm sure.
Yeah, as long as it's not a dicking, like someone gets bowled out or someone gets chased down in fucking like 30 overs, then I'm sure there'll be some cricket to tune in the morning. But I suppose bigger fish to fry in terms of the Arsenal-Chelsea game tomorrow morning for us.
Exactly.
Um,
But also on the cards for tomorrow, another matchup for your lads.
yeah, look,
The Knicks.
some more misery. Look, it's just been a week of sort of shit results for my sporting sides, really. Look, we run through every sport and I haven't picked up a win in anything. 0 from 9 in my bets. The Dragons lost. Arsenal obviously haven't played, but we lost so bad to Man City, it might as well count twice. the Black Caps, and now the Knicks going 1-0 down in the East semi-finals to the Heat there, thanks to Kyle Lowry and Jimmy Butler leading the way. A good overall team performance from the Heat, I think, there, but worrying signs for the Knicks. Julius Randle was not playing in the first game. I hope he's back tomorrow. I haven't read into that. Have to do a little bit of reading for that one, or maybe just, I guess, tune in tomorrow and find out probably. But hopefully we can make it 1-1 before we head to Miami, because coming off the back of them beating the Bucks, picking up that game 1 victory on the road, they'll probably be favourites. Who knows?
Like I said,
Still 6 games to go.
like I said earlier, I've jumped on the bandwagon, so I'll be the same as you, hoping that Randall will be back playing tomorrow. Fingers crossed, and tie that series up at 1-0. It's unfortunate as well with the 4 losses there for you. We weren't able to wrangle in a King of the Oche. Now we had Michael Smith coming away with the win there in Leeds, I believe it was, on Friday morning, I think. Coming away with a good win there in the final. Didn't really get to his best starts, I don't think, throughout the day. And so he took the win. It's all but pretty much cemented his playoff spot. He's just sitting there in 3rd at the moment. And it is him in 3rd. Aspinall in 4th and Clayton in 5th. And Clayton sort of battling there to try and come in and take one of those top 4 spots. But we also had the Dutch Darts Open over the weekend, and we didn't see any Dutch players making the final. Unfortunately for the fans, I'm sure that would have been unreal with all of them. They were all quite full on out there in the Netherlands. But 2 Englishmen in the final, Dave Chisnell up against Luke Humphries, and Chizzy coming away with, I believe, I want to say, an 8-3, 8-4 win, I think it was, there in the final. But I have got a juicy looking King of the Oche this week. Now, first game up, we've got Clayton to beat Wright, obviously pushing on there to try and take that spot in the top 4. We've then got Dimmy to beat Dobie. Now, both players unfortunately not able to make that playoff spot. Chris Dobie sort of struggled since that opening night victory there that he got, and Dimmy sitting there in, I believe, 6th at the moment, the best of the 3 near the bottom. We've then got Smith to beat Aspinall to continue his form following on from last week, and then in the matchup of the night, the last match of the first 4, we've got Gizzy to beat MVG. Now MVG, from what I saw on the weekend, not really playing like his usual self, and Kieran Price has been in some unreal form of recent. So we've put those 4 together, all 4 to take the King of the Oche. We've boosted up that bet, and it's given me $653.20. Now, whipping out the big guns to finish it off, definitely getting us to Rarotonga. I believe if that comes off.
A couple of times, potentially.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be crossing our fingers and toes. I might be getting up early Friday morning.
We might be off to watch the Premier League darts if this one comes off.
Yeah, exactly. Go to the finals night. How good would that be? Probably us. Yeah, I'd say for this week. Another good week of sport. As always, thank you if you've made it this far. Thank you for listening or watching or tuning in, however you may do. Remember to give us your reviews, your likes, your stars, your comments, your subscriptions on all of our social medias. If you're having a punt, do so responsibly. Remember, no less than a cent and no more than $10. Keep it easy. Enjoy the week ahead. Enjoy your sport. Enjoy whatever you get up to. And fingers crossed, we'll see you here next week.
Yeah. Keep it easy. Keep it breezy. See you here next week. Ciao.
Marshall skips away. Marshall's still going. Marshall's got Richards coming up outside. Now inside.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing.
Bennett. And The Dragons win the grand final.
Whips that one away, and Kane Williamson and his team now world test champions.